Texans overwhelmingly voted for Prop 6 with over 73% of the vote. The measure was supported by both Democrats and Republicans, as well as business and environmental groups. The Alkek Library is a great resource for Texas State students, but the shutdown in Washington has limited access to government information provided by the library. If you do find yourself in need of government resources, log on to the library's website to see what resources are available. Residents from across the state traveled to Bastrop on September 21st for the first convention of a group called Independent Texans.
Welcome to Bastrop, home of the Lost Pines.
Attendees participated in panel discussions and debates. Eminent domain reform was among the issues.
Why would the Texas legislature give the power of eminent domain to private companies?
Family farm manager Julia Trigg Crawford had part of her land seized by TransCanada, the company behind the Keystone XL pipeline.
A Canadian corporation transporting a product made in Canada, just passing through Texas, should not have the right to take my land. They want to build their pipeline by getting easements from willing landowners they can.
Julia and her family have been battling TransCanada in the courts for nearly 3 years. After losing her case in the lower courts, she is appealing to the Texas Supreme Court.
I'm staying in the game as long as I can and helping my story be part of a forum for some discussions on why we got to go back and change either our representation or the laws that are on the books here in Texas.
The convention also had a silent auction for the Lost Pines Water Defense Fund, giving Lee and Bastrop County residents a voice to protect their aquifers.
Doing something to protect our water, given that the legislature has failed to do that, and there may be a proposition passed in November that is going to make it worse for protection of water resources, and in particular our aquifers.
Proposition 6, if passed in November, would set aside $2 billion from the state's rainy day fund to develop new water resources.
There's no way that you can make any kind of scientific argument that where the Texas Water Development Board and where the legislature want to spend their money is viable. It's not viable for the future of Texas.
The abject failure to protect our resources is, I think, the issue of our state right now.
The meeting here in Bastrop was an all-day event, and it gave citizens an opportunity to learn about eminent domain reform and water conservation. For Bobcat Update, I'm Max Anderson. Texans overwhelmingly voted for Prop 6 with over 73% of the vote. The measure was supported by both Democrats and Republicans, as well as business and environmental groups. But now the question becomes, how will the money be spent? Proposition 6 takes $2 billion from the state's rainy day fund to finance water projects around the state. The projects will be overseen by the Texas Water Development Board. The Texas Water Development Board has several years to figure out how the projects will be prioritized and approved. 20% of the funds have been dedicated towards conservation purposes. Texas State political science professor Dr. Patricia Parent says she's anticipating political battles over development and cost.
It's almost always controversial to be moving water from one place to another, particularly if that is going to foster suburban development in a controversial place, that type of thing.
Dallas resident Rita Beving says she has received several letters calling for water pipelines and reservoirs.
Again, this money could start being shifted and appropriated toward reservoir projects and not what a lot of people thought it would be, and that is new sewer lines, new water treatment plants.
The Water Texas PAC has raised $2 million for Prop 6. Some of the projects the group supports include desalination, water reuse, storing water underground, pipelines, and reservoirs. Prop 6 is an investment to provide water to Texans for the next 50 years. Many people are speculating about how the money will be spent. But what we do know is that the Texas Water Development Board will begin approving loans for projects in 2015. For Bobcat Update, I'm Max Anderson.